I sin. You know what I mean? Like, I know my heart. It's wicked. It's like, it is constantly trying to pull me away and constantly trying to like go into territory that like betrays the one I love. You know, like Judas is in me. I know that sounds intense, but like it's in all of us. There's like a propensity to always walk away.
Yeah.
For King David to have that and to know how like evil the heart can be, and yet the Lord is so kind because David was hungry, that because David wanted him, the Lord was like, you get to be known as a man that was after my heart. I have to worship. I have to give him everything. I have to give him my life. Every breath belongs to him. I know what my title should be, and yet also that's not my title.
Episode 91. Wow. Kory, thanks for being here. You really crushed it this weekend. We had Casey, Mexico. She flew out already. She's gone, but she also did a very good job. Keep an eye out for a crossover episode between the Young Adults podcast and the Afterthoughts podcast, the two biggest podcasts you've ever seen. Kayla's probably got some great questions coming up soon. Man, a lot going on in sports. Wow, what an exciting episode. Why don't we start off with some questions? Myself.
Is this questions with Ethan?
Yeah, how was my day today? So far, it's been great. Thanks for asking.
Listen, man, traffic is crazy always, but it's getting worse. E, come on in, man.
Episode 91.
I don't know where Kory is yet.
Give him a call.
We are rolling.
Ethan's been crushing it, man. He's been talking to himself.
Okay. Kory's on his way.
From bed.
Yeah.
Ooh, we are rolling.
We've been rolling. Here.
Yeah.
Which one do we sit in?
Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast. Kory Miller has joined us, or should I say will join us
Yeah. Future
today.
tense.
Can't
That
wait
is-
to see Kory.
That is a prophetic word.
We had a fun little
Hey, buddy.
game today where we're just like, hey, we're going to start rolling and whoever's there gets there. And Ethan was here first with Austin. Ryan rolled in, then I rolled in, then Kayla, then Doug, and we're yet to see Kory yet. But
It's an early morning.
also, it seems that no matter what time of day it is,
Tough, man.
Nope.
35 will betray you.
It sure will.
There's
And for
always.
our out-of-state listeners, that is Highway 35.
Yes. Think of whatever highway is in your area. and it's
I-25,
worse.
405,
The 5.
for example.
When you lived in California, did you say the 5, the 405?
Always the 5.
But you don't say the 35.
But
you made the adjustment?
I made the adjustment because I got made fun of like immediately. And as Paul says, we have to learn to become all things to all people,
Yeah.
which means if you're going to plant a church in Austin, Texas, you have to stop saying the.
Hop on the 5,
Yeah.
head over to the 405, drop you off in Marina Del Rey.
Such a phenomenal. That might be the best SNL.
I think it's
The Californians,
so spot
like,
on.
very
of all
good.
time.
Yes, agreed.
And go listen to California Summer by Kyle Mooney while you're
Shout
at
out
it.
to Kyle M.
That's most important.
Yeah. The adjustment of the highways. And then also, I remember when we moved here, one of the biggest things was people trying to figure out how to say HEB.
Yeah.
You know, because if you don't know, you
Heb.
might be like, is it Heb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you call it that? And then locals look at you like, oh my gosh, that is so embarrassing. People
Dude.
have such like a need to assert to you. Like I know because I've actually lived here for 6 more months. It's HEB.
Yeah, exactly.
You say
I moved here
HEB.
3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
so let me kind of show you around.
But then somebody comes to visit you like a month later and they call it Heb and you just look at them like so
You do the same
self-righteously.
thing. You're like, yeah, so it's HEB.
Because guys,
Funny thing, we do that with theology, don't we?
the fastest way to
Wow.
become a
Wow.
Pharisee
Wow.
is to
That
hate a
was-
Pharisee.
That was
Wow.
quick.
That's right, Ryan.
That was
Who said
fast.
that?
Tim Keller,
Yeah, of course.
of course.
What did Tim Keller not say? Anything
Anything bad?
dumb?
He said
or bad?
everything
He
that
said
is
everything that was
profound,
smart.
and then probably somehow never judged anybody who didn't know as much as he did.
He's the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Because we do talk about sports, we'll just acknowledge, I'll just state a fact. The Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA Finals.
Just say it.
Moving
It's-
on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
That's all we have to say about sports. We now, though, enter the drought
This is a tough
Wah,
stretch for
wah.
sports.
where, and this is, I'd like to just throw back out there that we need to get either the NHL or NBA to adjust their season so that the playoffs run through June and July up until training camp.
Yeah.
And then the NFL and college
Just by
football
you
start.
saying that on this platform is
Probably
going to have
will
a lot
Probably
of
going to
pull.
change.
So-
Most of the the commissioners of all 4 major
Adam
sports
Silver
are big
is
Afterthoughts
fascinated.
podcast guy. Adam Silver, the bad guy from Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
It's true though.
and
Why,
seems like
Why is it that
It might be
Bad guy?
like
for a stretch we have Nuggets and Avalanche playoff games on the same night,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
and then there's
Stagger
nothing?
that.
Mm-hmm.
Come
like
on.
a couple months. Like if the NBA playoffs were just beginning right now, how great would that be?
Right.
Stanley Cup finishes up, and now it's time
And
for
now
the
we
NBA
get
finals.
some NBA.
And then by the time the NBA is done, NFL is here.
yeah.
It's really a brilliant plan that you have, E.
Well, COVID kind of made that happen a little. It shifted everything, and it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was better, but you guys are confused about the Willy Wonka comment. I see
Yeah.
that over there. There's a bald guy who's like
pull
behind
him
the
up.
scenes,
Yes.
creepy. That's the guy I'm talking about.
He's actually a great commissioner. We like him. Players seem to really love him.
That guy.
If you here's a question in Willy
Top
Wonka.
hat.
If you could be anybody, but is it Willy? Who's the guy? Who's the main guy?
William Wonka.
Charlie.
Is it Willie?
Charlie's the other guy.
You mean the? Are you talking about Willy Wonka?
Talking about literally the title of the entire thing.
Charlie. Charlie. Yes. that's it.
Charlie Bucket.
Is it Willie?
Willie's the factory.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Been a while since I've seen that.
Okay, we gotta get it back together.
Okay.
Is it Willie?
Tell us what you were trying.
Okay,
What
if
were
you
you
could-
doing there?
Yeah. Okay. So. Wow.
Oh my.
So we have Charlie. He's the main guy with Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
That's the other main guy. So if
Yes.
you could be anybody in
Uh,
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the movie,
Oh,
who
man.
would you
And
be?
none of them.
I really don't like that movie
It
at all.
gave me bad dreams as a kid.
Aw.
I hated that movie.
It's creepy.
Uh-huh.
I'm
The
not
old
like
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
OG.
Gene Wilder
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And the Johnny Depp one, I didn't even watch it.
Yeah,
But I
like
said it's also creepy.
Getting sucked up the
What about the
chocolate
Timothy
thing.
Chalamet one?
The
oh
tube.
yeah, there's another one.
and then
Wonka.
rising.
It's the prequel.
But I used to have
Gotta
bad dreams
stop
that I
that.
was like rising in
I don't
that
want
room
any of
towards
that.
the fan on
Yeah.
the ceiling.
Yeah.
That one's pretty.
As a kid,
It's
terrifying.
I don't like
man.
Terry Wonka
Terrifying.
at all. But
Probably the grandpa.
There's always the great comedy
Oh,
bit. about
yeah.
this
So good.
guy. Go
Was
ahead.
just in bed for 20 years, letting everybody else work to pay for
care of
him
him.
and take care of him and cook for him and clean everything for him. And
And then he's
until all of a sudden
fine.
there was a free ticket to
Yeah.
the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
By
dude's
some
ready.
miracle, he springs
Spring
out of
chicken.
bed. That's what dopamine will do. And
Wow.
then it's
Wow.
lost on everybody that, wait a second.
Yep.
Everybody's just like, wow, isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
No.
What about the mom, Charlie? What
Charlie,
about your
take your
dad?
mom.
Yeah.
Take your mom who's been taking care of these 4 grandparents
And you.
and you.
Totally.
Anyways,
Kayla,
Willie. I'd probably be Willie.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is it Willie?
First name Willie.
Kayla's had 2 of the greatest, most recent quotes.
Yes.
Can
You're
I say
welcome.
your other? Can I
Go
tell the
for
other
it.
story?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Go
dude.
for
Do you
it.
mind?
Go for it. Yeah. You have permission.
Okay, the other night we had some Olive Garden, and there was the big Olive Garden salad.
Oh,
and some of us
yeah.
came up to eat. Here he is,
Corey!
We're live, Corey. We're
Corey.
live.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast. We're
Oh,
live,
yeah.
man.
Oh, great.
Come on in, man.
We'll come back.
The
We'll come back to
diva
your
has
story.
arrived.
Salad
Foreshadow.
later. We'll finish the
Yeah,
salad.
tune in to future episodes
Dude.
to hear about Olive Garden.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey, dude.
What a crazy morning.
If you were gonna be,
How was it crazy?
how so?
Just waking up to the sound of Ethan so calmly being like, "Are you here yet?" That was wild.
That was not very long ago. You made it here fast.
That was
I
very
did-
impressive.
I did not represent our church very great on the road.
Right.
I want to talk about that for a
Oh
second.
man.
Neither did anybody else.
Mm.
So
Yeah, no
Yeah.
one does in Austin. Represents anything.
Yeah, it was kind of the
People
Wild
are-
West out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
bad at driving here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, warm up, get your hoodie on, and then tell us if you had to be, I'd say had to be, not got to, be one character from
Oh.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Who would you be?
Oh, great question.
Thank you.
I think there's something about Augustus Gloop
Okay.
that fascinates me.
Yeah.
Not the new one, like the
Gene Wilder.
Gene
one.
Wilder one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
The OG
where
one.
he like when he eats the microphone, that's when it was like, there's an issue here.
So that's who you'd want to be.
Well, just to see what it's like.
just
I don't
fascinating.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Do you have any other questions while we got you, Kayla?
Yeah. They're for Corey.
Questions
Oh,
for
let's
Corey
go.
from
Okay.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay.
Mhm.
If you could be in any band, what band would you be in?
Wow.
I have a serious answer and then like a crazy answer.
Never tell us the serious answer.
Don't say
Never.
Red
We're
Rocks
never gonna go
Worship.
serious here.
You can't say Red Rocks Worship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you already are in that.
that's right. That's right.
And you can't say Kory Miller.
That's right. That's right.
Because you already do that.
That's really
You are
fair.
him.
The rules you've laid out. I would say the not serious answer is I think it'd be really funny to randomly join like a K-pop band for a day to be like, what is this like?
Yeah.
Like the choreography is like way more important than anything musical.
Yeah.
How do you think you
But they're a
do?
band still.
How would
know?
you do with the choreography? Do you think
Not
you'd be
great.
like in your zone and trying to crush
No.
it?
I know
Yeah.
how he'd do.
No, you saw
He
you
would-
saw me.
He would put the Kory in choreography.
That's good.
Yes.
Wow.
That's good.
We actually have footage
5
from this
points.
weekend of him doing choreography.
Yeah,
with
let's-
his song.
Let's cut to the
Good
footage.
band.
Let's
Cut
cut
to
to the
it.
tape.
Cut to Kory,
We'll cut to
Kory
that.
learning the motions to the song that he wrote
His
while
song.
he's doing it on stage with
Yeah.
the kids. That was great.
That was amazing.
Speaking of K-pop, you know, on Netflix, if you're just open the app, it'll just like have a slideshow kind of thing of different shows
Yeah.
that you could watch. Well, on the kids' profile, there's a show called K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh,
I was like, what? That is the most oddly specific
Seems like two different topics.
concept for
Put
a
together.
show for kids.
dude, watch
Yeah.
it be like
Wow.
an animated like teaching kids how to go through deliverance,
Spiritual
and stuff.
warfare
Yeah,
show.
Hey Siri,
Yeah.
what is K-pop?
Korean.
Got
pop. Yeah.
As the kids
Yeah.
would say, unk status
Uh-huh.
right there.
All right, man.
Yeah, as they would.
Yeah.
Any other? Oh wait, what was your serious answer? I actually do want to know. Ryan, plug your ears. Ryan.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
wanna
sorry.
know.
My serious answer is, I think it would be really, really, really fun. I wouldn't want to sing. I want to play an instrument, but I want to join like hardcore country band,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
like Texas country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That'd be really, really fun.
Uh-huh.
Cool. What
Cody,
instrument would you
Cody
play?
Johnson is like
Mm-hmm.
love his
Yeah.
music so much. I probably would want to either get much better at the acoustic and then play that, or just stick on keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a mandolin.
A mandolin is
Oof.
so sick. Actually, one of my favorite songs right now has like a mandolin that's verbed out on a big sky. It's a reverb pedal, fellas. And
Obviously.
Yeah, we know.
A big sky.
We have a full
a
room
big
of
sky.
those over
Yeah,
there.
that's
Yeah.
right. There's a closet full.
The big
sky
floor to
room.
ceiling.
So many.
Got
Love
two
that.
pedals in my car.
But yeah, mandolin.
Very good.
I love it.
Speaking of music,
Hmm.
if you don't know who Kory is, we didn't really introduce him, but he's a musician and has an album.
Yes.
Tell us about your album.
Yeah.
I just learned Kory's album, All to Bless You, just hit 10 million streams
Wow.
of those
Come
songs,
on.
correct?
That's a
Yes,
lot
crazy.
of millions.
10 million
Wow.
streams of those songs.
That's
on
awesome.
on Sunday while I was here, which
Wow.
is crazy because when I was here was when the album was kind of born, at least conceptually in my head.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
It started like forming when I lived here in Austin.
Well, you're
So-
welcome, man.
Thank you. It's, I
10
have-
million.
10 million is
Streams.
awesome.
Thank you,
Dude, that's
Yeah.
that's insane.
Mhm.
For real.
So
Let's
cool.
go.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been out June 28 last year. It came out, and so it's like
Wow.
Dude.
a little
Yeah.
little shy of a year. So
Just
that
under a year.
blows my mind. 10 million of anything is like I can't picture.
$10
it.
million is
That'd
you're a
be-
multi-millionaire.
that'd be great.
Imagine
Yeah.
having 10 million donuts in front of you.
I,
Can't even do that.
That's a lot of
too,
donuts.
It's too many.
yeah.
I can't.
You know?
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Watching 10 million movies
Oof.
Yeah,
would take you a lifetime.
yeah,
Kayla asking us 10 million questions.
Yeah.
That would be such a long episode.
yeah.
Start now.
That was 2. No, we've made 1 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Kory, also, you're touring with Red Rocks Worship right now. The King is
am.
Coming tour. How is that?
It's going great. I leave like literally this room to jet to the airport
Soon.
and see if I make it
Yeah.
to join for like the last leg. We have
Yes.
5 more stops in like kind of central mid America,
Awesome.
and those are always the fun ones because there's like nothing's there,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
except for these like little gems that the locals know of. So I'm excited.
That's
Very
awesome,
good.
man.
Do you have? Are you doing that tonight?
Not tonight. So I fly from here to Denver to catch the bus.
Oh,
Then
okay.
we're busing out to I
Got
think Billings, Montana.
Okay.
That's where my parents or grandparents live.
Uh oh.
And my uncle and aunt and all
So I'm
that.
gonna go hang out with Kayla's fam
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Love to
grab
have
Please
you.
They
invite
know all
them
the
to the
gems.
show.
You know,
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so what time is your flight?
10:35.
we're 15 minutes from the airport.
Okay, so let's go 20,
20 minutes.
25 minutes
Love it.
diving in with Kory, and
Cool.
we'll just call it a day. Do you
Love
have one more question, maybe?
I mean, I have one more, but if
Just
you guys
go,
want
just go.
Okay.
Come on.
Go in. Go
Bring
in.
it.
Okay. What is a worship moment that like you'll never forget? That maybe that's happened recently? Because I know that maybe there's a lot, but
Yeah.
maybe a more recent one.
The one that comes to mind, Ethan was there for this, but it was actually at my album recording. That moment is like anytime I try to describe it, it sounds a little bit like I've tried to find more like tangible words to describe the moment, just because it felt so not worldly.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel real, but the whole night, like the heart of All to Bless You was like, I really wanted to see what it was like to take Psalm 100 verse 4 really like hyper serious and hyper realistically. That verse says the passwords into his presence and into his courts is praise and thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was like, what? How far can we, like, how far does that go? And how far is that just like emotive language or poetic language, and how much of that is practical?
Yeah.
And so we spent almost a full record doing only that, just getting, not just leading a room, but like even internally. It's like, I want all of us to use the passwords of praise and thanksgiving and walk into the presence, and what happens.
Yeah.
So all night this is happening. And then there was a moment on the record, it's the tracks, The Cloud, and then Very Soon, where it felt like, the only words I had to describe it is, it felt like, like the Lord was in the room, like hovering over the room the whole night. And then for whatever reason, that is the moment that like he descended and put feet on the ground. And I remember there being a moment, and this is why sometimes it's like interesting to describe, because it does sound kind of, I don't know, like it feels a little dramatic.
Sure.
But it was such an encounter that it was dramatic, But I remember it feeling like feet were on the ground, and I fell to my knees, because I was like, I don't really know how to, in those moments when the Lord becomes so intense, like there's something in me as a worship leader, I'm like, I actually don't know how to steward you. I don't know how to like, I love to host you, but when you get that close, it's like, I don't know how to, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to sing. I don't want to talk. I don't want to move. And I remember that moment just feeling like I was just talking to the Lord, the band was playing, and I remember saying like, if you come any closer, I don't know if we'll survive this. Like I don't know how there's an actual like fear of the Lord that hit, because I was like, this is as close as I've gotten publicly and in front of people than I ever have. And it's funny that saying that's like, you can't lead people where you've never been. Like I super love that statement, by the way.
Yeah.
Super believe in it. But it was interesting that was a moment in my life where the Lord took me somewhere he had never taken me. And it was
With
in
everyone
a room
else.
full of people at my album recording. And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do right now, And it was kind of beautiful. That's my favorite moment that I've had corporately in worship so far.
Yeah. It was maybe there's just moments where it's kind of like, at this point now, God's just leading this.
Mhm.
Again, I think you're really good at that as a worship leader, of just kind of knowing when to like, I'm just going to go in the background here
Yeah.
and just kind of let God move in the room
Yeah.
and let people respond to him, because he's doing something. It's hard to describe
Yes.
what that was like. And even the music, like your musicians, the way they were playing was like the sounds of like a storm almost.
Well, it was crazy.
it was.
At some point, I want to like gather, because we still have everything recorded, But even our MD, Zach Hargraves, I've never experienced an MD lead like that. And no one else could hear this, but in my ears, I'm like knocked out. And I'm like, at some point I'm gonna have to sing this song, but it is not right now. And in my ears, I start hearing like, Zach started reading Revelation, and he's like describing. He's like, Revelation says that like the voice of the Lord is like many waters, and he's like, Scott, I feel like the waters that are in the Lord's voice are in your right hand on the keyboard. Like when you start playing the waters, and he said it, and then it's like it also describes it as like a voice of thunder, and he's like, Micah, I feel like your drums are the thunder, so every now and then just like release thunder. And he was like, and he also says that like there's clouds that surround him, and he's like, John and Cole, I feel like you're the clouds. And so he's like ascribing these like biblical narratives to the band to play, you know. And so they created like they created a moment where like their instruments were these like I don't know, like stand-ins for the sounds of the voice of the Lord as it's described. Yeah. And it was just nutty.
It's wild, man. I listen to the cloud on repeat when I'm just writing or working or praying. Whatever. It's so good. That moment when Scott just goes off.
Oh yeah.
Is so beautiful.
I want that on a loop. Yeah. I have it actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
It's my alarm. It didn't work today.
Unbelievable. Shout out to Scott Miller. And I wish he played louder so Kory would have woken up on time.
The cloud into Very Soon, that whole sequence on Kory's album is like, the fear of the Lord is the right way to describe it. Where there's like an ominous piece to it that you can feel the reverence of it. Like I need to think about the reality of life and death and eternity, and that Jesus is coming back. But the song also has this like beautiful, passionate, like hope in it at the same kind of like it's like the book of Revelation. Yeah. Where there's a party that reads just like, oh crap, I need to really think about this. Yeah. But then there's this bigger takeaway at the end of it is like, okay, he's coming to make all things new. Yeah. So that means whatever's going on today, I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Because he's in control, he's the king, and he will show up and he will get his glory. And I'm invited into that. Yeah. And that I love the way that you kind of surrendered to let God just move through your music like that. And not let it become it wasn't a concert at all. I like at the end of the night, and you would appreciate this, you wouldn't even take this personally, but it was almost like, I don't really think thanking Kory is like the right thing to do right now. Right. Because it was like you were just a piece in this bigger picture of God just moving. And that's how your whole album feels to me. Which leads me to a question. Last night we were talking about our church and the different demographics that are represented in a service or multiple services of people who've been in church their whole lives, people who've been in church where worship is kind of like, yeah, we sing the song to get through it so that we can get to the message. And for some reason, music is a part of church, all the way to people that are so passionately, deeply like, I'm here for the worship. Like the message is fine, but I'm here to worship. And then in between, a bunch of people that don't quite know what to do with any of it. What's some like teaching you could give us and our people on worship, coming from either like no background or I don't know what to do with myself in worship? Like, what is it and how can we grow as worshipers? Because ultimately that's who we are. Yeah. That's what we're supposed to be doing with our lives. And the corporate worship that you lead and musically is one massive expression of a life of worship. So give us some tools to help people. Because I think a lot of people don't know quite how to engage, or they want a moment like that, but they're like, I don't know what to do. Right. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Right. Man, I mean, I think at any moment, I feel like I have like a dissertation's like volume of information sitting on me that like I've just gathered, because I have to start with I got saved in a crazy uncontrollable worship moment at a youth camp where I wasn't raised in church. I didn't have context to understand what was happening. Yeah. And yet there was something so familiar about, because it was so honest and it wasn't this contrived thing. It wasn't even as a like brand new not even yet a believer, there was something in me that knew like this is real. Like something about this is very real. And I encountered the presence of God, or I should say like he encountered me. Like he just stopped me. And I gave my heart to the Lord, got filled with the Holy Spirit, called into ministry, like all in like a 0.7 second stretch of time, because of how intense it was. And I think since that moment, I've been hungry to be a part of setting those atmospheres, for as many people as I can. And so, because of that, I think it's prompted me to like research and like I love the fact that the Lord isn't. He is stable. He is so dependable, and he is consistent, and he's also at the same time equally wild and untamed and not formulaic. And so when it comes to worship, which is this very like at least corporate worship, when it comes to corporate worship, there's something intangible about it. There's something that is not formulaic. Like you can do the same songs. We do this on tour. We do the same set every single night, and yet somehow he does a new thing every single night. Yeah. So all that said, I think a few things that have been really, really important to me about worship is understanding number one, a corporate understanding of like what is this time for? Like what is the goal? I think starting there is important because everything down to our phones. You walk into a restaurant, like you are the main character. Like they want your business. Your phone, there's like a multi-million-dollar business set up to like be funding these researches for algorithms to make sure that you feel like you were like chased, and that feels good on some level. And I think one of the things I'm seeing right now is, it's not like malicious at all, but it's just cultural training that we walk into church and we just assume that this worship moment is for me. And matter of fact, you know what's crazy about church, like modern church, the message is for us, actually. Like that's our daily bread. That's the Lord gave us that to learn him and to learn us. And so a portion of our services are for us. If I'm teaching someone about worship, and especially a new believer, where I would start is like, hey, you know what? It's so relieving that, those 3 songs or that block of time, like you get to hop off of the throne for a second. You're not the main character in the best way, not in a shameful way, but like what a relief that for the next 15, 20 minutes, like there is someone else that gets to sit on a throne and you just get to look at him. The other thing that I feel like this is, I want to lean hyper practical in it, but this piece is really important. There's a worship leader who his name's John Thurlow. I've never met him, but he's been a worship leader for a long time, and he has just, I think, recently hopped into more of a father role. Whether he meant to or not, it's happened, and he keeps encouraging young worship leaders. And I love something he says quite often, but he said, "Worship is beholding," and that in itself like takes a little bit of unpacking, but I think you can't really give the Lord something costly until you see how like worthy he is of it. Until you have that moment, like you can hear head knowledge about like, yeah, he's holy. But if you don't have an encounter with the Lord, like you don't really know what holy is, apart from it's just a word. That moment that we just talked about during the cloud and very soon, that was a moment where I'm like, you could kill me in the coolest way. Like you're epic, like there's no one bigger, there's no one better. There is a fear of the Lord. And so when I come into worship and I have that as my jumping off point of who he is, I'm like, No, I'm going to give you something that nobody else on the earth will ever get. It's like, it is honest. It's so real. Like, I love you. I love you. And I want you. And I think like worship is beholding. It has to come from a place of like, I want to see you, and I maybe have seen you. I have this sense that you're so good that I can't raise my hands high enough. I can't sing loud enough. I can't do anything physical that will match what you're worthy of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you can get there, like, oh man, worship is like the funnest time.
You just did a song with Bethel called Inhabit.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted you when I first listened to it, and I was like, dude, this song is so awesome. And you said, it's my heart basically in a song. Like, this is my heart of worship in a song.
Yeah.
Why do you say that? What does that mean to you?
I mean, I didn't write the song, which is awesome. It's like so cool. It feels like someone like dug through my diary and was like, yeah, let's write this. When I say that, it's I got wee little King David here on my arm.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things that David said was, this was, believed to be later in his life, but he said, the one thing that I ask and the one thing I seek is to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, and to gaze at your beauty. Back to beholding, right? Inhabit is a song where it's like, man, I really actually don't care about anything else. On some level I do, like on a human level, it's like, okay, I care about food and water and safe place to sleep, and like there's things like that, but really, if you were to take my life and you were to like put it on a scale, like, I honestly, I feel this for me, like I just really want the Lord. I want him.
Yeah.
I want him bad. Not just in corporate worship. I want him as I'm cutting people off on 35. You know what I mean? Like, I want him everywhere.
Yeah.
And inevitably what that means is that, like, if he's in everything, then I'll see things a little bit different. I'll probably recognize, like, oh, that wasn't it, or I don't know. That whole thought of like, he's the reward. He's the reward of our life. There are things on the earth that are rewarding, and I think marriage and family and success and jobs and all that. There are things that like feel good and are great to have, but nothing compares, really.
So let me ask you this, and then we'll get you to the airport. Success in a Christian context is a very strange thing. This next thing I'm going to say is going to make you cringe, but you've become probably one of the best known worship leaders out there. You have an album with 10 million streams, and then you've been on other songs and albums. And from anyone who views the Christian music world as just an industry, they'd go, oh, that guy made it. But that's not how you view it. How do you keep success in the proper context? And when your whole job is to point people to the power of God and who he is, people will try to make it about you. How do you keep yourself from letting it become about you and keeping it about him?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that feels like the big conundrum right now in the church space right now, is like, how do you, the one thing the Lord has asked me to do for my life, and I've even just recently like finally agreed, is like burn. I want to, there's the scripture that says like, there's fire shut in my bones. Like I what is this? And I feel like the Lord has just, even recently, like there's a lot of change in my life, and the Lord has been like, hey, will you just burn for me? Like let me burn hot and be cool with being misunderstood. And I think one of the things that come along with that is, if you're burning, it's visible. It attracts attention. It just does. And I want to be like real. I don't want to be naive about this. The more people that listen and follow and reach out, and the more people that do that, inevitably, like it is human nature to even accidentally find a substitute. You know, I don't know if I can fix that. And I also, like, we're meant to be a city on a hill. We're meant to stand out. We're meant to attract. We're meant to like draw in. And so I don't know if I can. I'm sure as my life progresses and as God does what He wants to do, there will be new ways of learning how to put things in appropriate places, and to even repent and say like, oh, it's all right, my bad, I got it wrong for a minute. But right now there's I wish I could remember this book. You and I have talked about it. I can't remember the name of it, but
Give me a little more, and I got this.
No, I think you have enough. Like, just guess what book I'm talking about.
Harry Potter and the
I
Chamber
know
of
the
Secrets.
book, Ryan. Just say
I
it.
think everyone listening is pretty clear on what the book is. I don't know how you haven't gotten there, Ryan.
Weird that you don't know the book.
Is it Walking on Water?
No, but I do love that
That is
book.
a good book.
No, there's a book that talks about this, and it's ended up being pretty formative for my current state of life. But it's a female author, and she's writing, and she's like, I used to not know what to do with compliments.
40 Days of Decrease.
That's it.
That got there.
You heard it here way before this guy.
Come on.
Have you ever even read a book, Ryan?
I was practicing simplicity and decreasing, and so
Wow.
I'm
You should be
I'm
practicing the way.
practicing not answering questions. So thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve you.
She says, I used to not know what to do with compliments.
Yeah.
They would say, good job, and I would throw it back, be like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, I imagine her like hopping into Kyle Mooney for a second. Like, no,
It's fine.
no, don't do that.
Such a lovely one.
And then she's like, but then that fell off. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so then I started just accepting them. And she was like, and then over time, like that fell off too, because just started feeling a little like, I don't know, icky. I don't know. And then she said, so then I started gathering people's compliments and praise, like individual little flowers. And at the end of the night, I get on my knees and I offer the bouquet back up to the Lord.
Right.
And that felt so formative to me, especially like when we go out on the road, we meet people and they've had these monumental moments with the Lord through songs that you know, I probably don't even think about anymore. And at one point meant something, but mean a little less now. But to them, it's like their moment. And all they know to do is to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I never want to rob someone of their like formative moments with the Lord. And so it would be like, how harsh would it be if I were to be like, don't thank me. That's not right.
Yeah.
Like, that's so weird, you know?
Totally.
So I think I've just gotten to the point where like, man, the reality is there's so much more about the Lord I want to know. There's so much more. Like 10 million streams is awesome. That blows my mind. I cannot believe people listen to, like, I'm an independent artist, not signed. Like I don't know how that happened. That's so awesome. And also when I look at like what the Lord has brought me through and what He's teaching me, it could fill a thimble when there's an ocean out there. It's like, I want more. I want more of Him. And to me, I hope I never lose this. But to me, success would be, I'm 80 years old and I'm still burning.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Oof.
let's do a podcast then and figure out like, did I live a life of repentance? Did I live a life of like, did people around me start catching fire? Did people around me like even fall into sin, but then saw the fruit of walking with Jesus and want to change their ways? Like, to me, that's like, wow, that is the mark of success that I'm after. And at the same time, I want to be really, really thankful and grateful that there does seem to be favor on my life, and I want to agree with that. I want to be honest about that too.
Yeah.
So
That's so good.
It's cool to tie that back to what you said about King David, that he just continually lived more and more like, I just want to be in the Lord's house. I just want to be in his presence.
Mhm.
His songs have had billions and billions of streams, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For centuries and centuries and centuries. And I think if you get a moment where you get to go talk to him, in eternity and talk about it, I think he'd just be blown away and thankful that God used someone like him to invite so many people into his presence. Because ultimately, when you read through David's Psalms, you don't walk away like David was so great, right?
Mhm.
There's no way to, because
Yeah.
it's clear he was a mess in so many ways. He was very human.
Yeah.
You walk away going, look at how powerful and amazing and good God is through what he did in this man's life and the way that man communicated that goodness to us, that we could experience it and understand it more. That's how I see your album and your songs, and what you'll continue to do is people won't walk, like I didn't walk away from your worship night like, man, Kory's the coolest person I've ever met, right? It was like, gosh, God is so powerful and so real and so good.
Yeah.
And if you continue, which you will, on that track of not playing small with your gift and just helping usher other people in to go see how good he is, I think you'll be that 80-year-old guy with that story to tell. So
You know what's cool about that concept is like, and this is just another reason why like the Lord is so much better than anything on the earth. Like David, even to this day, gets to the honor of having the title of like a man after God's heart. And I would love to ask the question one day to King David to be like, how does that feel to like your history? I like, weirdly enough, I know your history. Like I know
his mistakes are written down.
Everyone
like
here
pretty
knows
visible.
a lot about you.
Like you did some like pretty dark stuff, man.
Your testimony leaked to everyone
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. I want to know what it feels like. And I think to some degree, like I do know what it feels like. I sin. You know what I mean? Like I know my heart. It's wicked. It's like it is constantly trying to pull me away and constantly trying to like go into territory that like betrays the one I love. Like Judas is in me. I know that sounds intense, but like it's in all of us. There's like a propensity to always walk away. Yeah. For King David to have that and to know how like evil the heart can be, and yet the Lord is so kind that because David was hungry, that because David wanted him, the Lord was like, let me just like give you a title that is the coolest title to ever have. You get to be known as a man that was after my heart. Like that to me is like the craziest thing. And I think all it does for me is it like re-prompts me back into like, I have to worship. I have to give him everything. I have to give him my life. Every breath belongs to him. I know what my title should be, and yet also that's not my title.
Yeah.
It's
funny that now today that's what we know him more as than the fact that he was the king of Israel.
Yeah.
That's like the title you'd want.
Yeah.
But I feel like you keep reading the Old Testament and you're like, being the king wasn't that cool actually, because most of these guys were terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's actually way better is to be a man after God's own heart. I'd
Yes,
rather be
dude.
that than be the king.
Well, and you throw on like the power of the Lord to like write a good story. This is just breaking my brain, but it's like David like murdered and stole Bathsheba as his bride, and then repents to the Lord. And the craziest thing is like, if you trace Jesus's lineage, like the lineage comes from Bathsheba.
Yeah.
Like the Lord redeemed even that. Like that's crazy to me. And like literally gave them the honor of being a part of the reason that Jesus came onto the earth. Like that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I just love the Lord, man.
The one who
so cool.
saved us from our sins comes from a lineage of sin.
Yep.
And it's right there for us to see. There's like brokenness baked into the story on purpose.
Yeah. Which makes being a king of any worldly kingdom seem kind of lame.
Yep.
When you think about
that's
the king.
so for real.
That's very true.
Yeah. Well, we could talk for hours, but then you'd miss your flight. You wouldn't get
would.
to the next stop, and then people wouldn't have their moments, and then we would have withheld from them
Wow.
an amazing
You really
encounter with
forecasted
God.
that.
So let's not do that. Let's get you to your plane. But thanks for being here. You'll
Thanks
be
for
back
having me.
many
Love you,
times.
bro.
We love you.
Corey.
guys.
Proud of you. Thankful for you. Go listen to All to Bless You.
Yeah.
Inhabit, new song, The King is Coming album, Red Rocks Worship. And some of those moments don't have to be at church. They also can happen in your car.
That's right.
They can happen
That's
walking
real.
around somewhere. So go get in the presence of God through some worship. And thanks for writing some of that for us, dude.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, guys.
Come on.
Love y'all.
Shout out to Willy Wonka.